Well, we've never had a brand new car, to tell you the truth. A brand new car would be about $50,000. That includes the $30,000 engine, we'll say $20,000 for the car, and everything that goes with it. But it's very expensive, and what you do, you have to work with your sponsors when you're in our situation. We started from the ground up. We didn't have anything, and we didn't want to put too much of our money into it, so I got involved, and we started getting sponsors, and we've been doing it for 8 to 10 years now, and it's working out real well.
Roughly how many sponsors do you have?
I have about 25 sponsors right now. We have about 5 major sponsors, but we still haven't acquired a very major sponsor, and that's why we're here today. You never know what might happen.
Well, I see the Shamrock on your shirt, Allison Crane Service on your hat, so obviously you're still carrying a lot of labels with you, and the idea is to get that big sponsor. Real quick, the team. Who's the members of the team? There's Chuck's the driver, and Ralph Huey's the crew chief, and who else is there?
We have Chris Spar, he's from John Powell Chevrolet. He's on our team, and then we have a gentleman from up in Mill Hall, Bill Wolford, he's on our team, and I think that's about, and Jamie Stone, that's about it for right now, but Ralph and Chuck might know a couple other guys. I'm not out there in the garage all that much.
We'll get him.
I'm behind my desk most of the time.
We'll pick him up. I'll tell you what, great to have you on here with me. We're going to bring you back at the end of the show and talk to us a little bit more about what's coming up in the world of sprint car racing, but for right now, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with the driver and the crew chief of the Roan Racing team. That's Chuck Roan and Ralph Huey right after these messages. We'll be right back. It's time for the Rennie Road Armel Allstate Insurance. Who is he and where is he now? The expression on this baby's face could well have been brought on when he saw his first bow and arrow. If so, no one would know why for 15 years. In the interim, he would play a variety of sports around the area, including Little League Baseball, football, and basketball. But his future would be impacted by the sport he didn't take up until age 15. Today, he is a nationally ranked, recognized athlete who competes internationally in a sport that has taken him around the world. Who is he and where is he now?
When you're looking for assurance, look to the insurance provider that will be your agent for life. Rennie Road Armel Allstate Insurance. Rennie Road Armel Allstate Insurance offers auto, home, life, and business policies tailored to meet your needs and your family's. Located at 921 Westminster Drive in Williamsport, Rennie and his qualified staff are available to give assurance for your insurance needs. Allstate Insurance with Rennie Road Armel. You're in good hands.
A true space adventure begins on Susquehanna.
I had the model kits from Aurora or Revell. In my own head, I probably made 6,000 landings that same day. Right there on the braided rug that my mom had in her front room, there was a low circular coffee table that had these kind of like umbrella legs that came up from underneath her, and I was underneath there all day long, waiting for it to happen.
From the Earth to the Moon, Sundays in April at 8 on HBO and Susquehanna Communications, an even better cable company.
Welcome back to the John Powell Chevrolet ESPN2 Local Sports Break Show. I'm Babe Mayer, along with 2 more members of the Roan Racing team. On my far left, Ralph Huey, the crew chief, and in the middle, the driver of the sprint car, Chuck Roan Jr. And guys, thanks for coming on the show. Chuck, I got to ask you right off the bat, the safety factor of driving a sprint car. Now, you watch the NASCAR cars go around. They have these big frames around them, and they're locked in with all this gear. A sprint car basically is an open cockpit. You're caged in, but it's an open cockpit, and sprint cars seem to do a lot more flipping than the NASCARs do. Is it tough driving a car, number one, and is it scary?
Anything scary, I would have to say, but just you have to feel safe. You have to have confidence in your equipment, and anything can happen at any given time with the open wheel cars. That's the difference. Yeah. With a stock car, yeah, you're safe, but you're going faster. Or with an open wheel car, you touch a wheel, you're out of here.
Absolutely, yeah, and that makes it tough. And now when you're driving, do you have to drive differently than you would if you were in a stock car and had those fenders on? Now, obviously, you don't want to touch wheels, but I mean, do you have to really take a lot more caution when you're doing things in traffic, particularly?
Yes. It's anything can happen at any given moment. It all boils down to experience. Every lap just makes you that much better, and it all depends on the setup of the car also. If the car's not set up right, you're out of the ballpark completely.
Okay, now here comes a big question now. This is what I was leading up to. That car slides. It's not like a car where you hold the road. You turn corners and that car is sliding. How do you keep from sliding into each other, or how do you avoid someone sliding into you?
It's a controlled slide. That's part of the driving. What tires you pick, the condition of the track, and a lot of times you can use that to your advantage. It's called a slide job, where you can intimidate someone and come up underneath them and stick your tail in their face and make them back off. That's part of it.
So it is a very interesting race, to say the least. Ralph, from a crew standpoint, the thing that probably amazes me most about sprint car racing is all the geometry that is involved in it. You have the short track, all right, you're constantly turning corners. When you put that car together, that car has to have a little bit special features to help handle those situations of that geometry, that sliding and the centrifugal force, and of course the angle of the wing on the back. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, you set the car up for whatever track you're running and the conditions of the track at that time, and that involves the tires, which the right tire is always bigger than the left tire.
That's the outside tire.
Right, that's what they call stagger. And depending on the track conditions, how much stagger you run. Same way with the wing angle. If the track's fast and you're getting good traction, you don't have to run as much angle on the wing. And if it's slow, then you run more angle, but then you gotta, there's a place what they call stall on the wing that it doesn't do any good to get any more angle on it. And spring-wise, you change your springs depending on the track, and the same way with shock rebound. It's all tied together on the track conditions and the length of the track, and gearing's involved in there too. Depending on the length of the track, you change the gear. So yeah, there's a lot of mathematics in setting up the car.
Sure, and so you literally change for every track you're on and whatever conditions you're driving in. Now, the wing itself, now what's the purpose? Some people tell me the wing's to hold the car down so it doesn't flip, and other people tell me, no, that's what gives you your power, is the pressure it puts against those wheels and holds the track. What's the purpose of the wing?
Well, the wing's a trade-off, number one. You got drag and you got downforce the same, so you got to balance that. You try to get as much downforce as you can get to give you good traction coming off the turns versus the drag at the end of the straightaways that'll slow you down. So that's a fine line there that you're always working with on the wing.
Now, on a track, Chuck, what track do you prefer to run on, a dry track or a wet track, and is there a difference between the two?
Yes, there's a difference, and I prefer a wet track because you can run the car much harder. You can put all that horsepower that you have to the ground. On a dry track, you have to backpedal so much, we call it. You're so precise with the throttle. One slip, one jerk, and the wheels are spinning, and you're going nowhere,
right,
burning your tires off.
Right. Now the interesting thing was, and I found, we talked before the show, and I found this very interesting, is that most people would think he'd want to run on a dry track, but a dry track is slippery. And a wet track, you basically stick to the track much better, is what it amounts to, right?
Right. It's clay. When clay is wet, it's sticky. It doesn't come off. And once it dries out from all the friction of the tires and so on, it becomes slippery, and that's where the setup really comes in.
Okay. Now you're running on dirt tracks, mud tracks, whatever the weather conditions demand. Now, setting in the stands, the dust comes up and hits you in the face, all right? And you know you're running on a dirt track. I can only imagine what it must be like sitting in that cockpit. You must get dust in your face, mud in your face. How do you see?
Tear-offs, little things on your helmet, you just keep peeling them off. Keep your vision clear, and the dust actually blows away. The wings from the car, with the car going in a circle, it creates like a tornado. The dust funnels out and goes to the grandstand.
Oh, okay. But the mud doesn't. The mud comes back and hits you in the face.
No, it's everywhere.
Yeah. What's the standards of a car, Ralph? What's the size of the engine? What can the max be, and the features of the car?
Well, generally we run unlimited class, and the rules are a 410 engine limit and 86-inch wheelbase thereabouts. In the car, everybody tries to get their car as light as possible, but our instance, the car weighs about 1,300 pounds. We don't. The more you take off of weight, the more money you need to buy the lightweight parts, and you give up a little reliability at the same